they did share it,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and people that are listening in, you could send your questions or put any comments that you have underneath the flyer that I shared. If you want to do that, that way we get all the questions answered and taken care of. So the school, um, when my I talked to my mom last night, and
Uh-huh.
she was a graduate from 1960, and
Uh-huh.
she was saying that there was no gym at the time, and they played PE. They did have PE. They had sports, but everyone played in their school clothes. So that was, she said, oh, that was real challenging, to play in your school clothes, and the shoes, that they had, they weren't tennis shoes. So
Yeah,
that's, I mean, that's all history there. There's so much history behind the school and behind the town. Um, my mom said the school started off as barracks. It wasn't really like a
that's
school.
correct.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like barracks. Wow.
yeah, it's correct. Uh, and like you said, there's a lot of history with the town, the school, and the town. The town, the mine at one time was the largest producing copper mine in the world. I believe it still holds the record for most ore hauled in a single year. I don't know the exact number, but it's still a record that stands today.
Oh yeah, I read about that too, and I didn't know.
Uh,
There's a lot of information that I really didn't know until I started doing a little bit of research, and then the articles that you sent me were real helpful, because I mean there's just so much to know, especially about your own, your hometown. I did live in I came from Tucson. We lived here when I was little. We moved over to San Manuel, where my dad had
uh,
the opportunity to work in the mines. He was a welder underground, so he worked there for many years until he retired from there. And then from my junior high school, we moved to Mammoth. And but I
uh,
continued being bused from Mammoth to Summerwood for
so,
school, and that was, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't a bad bus ride. I mean, I didn't mind it, but a lot of these kids, before the schools were even made in San Manuel, a lot of the students were bused to either to Florence, which my tios, they were bused to school in Florence, and that probably was like a 2 hour bus ride.
yeah, especially because the roads were dirt back then, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, it was like, wow, for that, the changes to happen, and then to have a school in San Manuel where it's much closer. I can, and then the community being built. I mean, there was stores, there was even a hospital there. Um,
Yeah, oh yeah, there was a hospital. There were
mhm.
outlet stores. I mean, it had a drive-in at one time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was a beautiful golf course. And San Manuel has a history. Mining towns are a unique culture. I think Arizona probably can. Every Arizonan can relate to the mining town culture, because if you look hard enough and you dig deep enough, you'll have family that work together in mines. I know my grandfather worked in it was Sonora. He was at the Sonora mine, and then he was at Tiger and Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and then finally at Magma in San Manuel. And there's a lot of other families out there who's, oh yeah, I worked with your grandfather at Tiger, or I knew your uncle at Christmas, or yeah, I worked with your cousin underground at the Mammoth mine, or this and that. So, and eventually Superior and Hayden and Winkleman, miners go where the work's at. And it's a unique culture where, if you're not related, you have family in the mines, you have friends in the mines, you yourself probably worked in the mine. It is definitely a staple in Arizona, and it's definitely a unique culture throughout Arizona.
It was, I say that we had the best childhood growing up in Mammoth, Samuel. We were able to be kids. Nowadays I know it's different, but back, growing up, everyone's family knew everybody. So
Yeah.
I mean, it had its pros and its cons. I mean, if you got in trouble, your mom was the first to know, before.
Everyone knows your business.
Yeah,
You your schedule was around the mine. When the horns were blasting,
right.
to be home. When the lights came on, the street lights came on, you knew it was time to get home. Everyone knows your business. Everyone knows the gossip.
Mm-hmm.
It was unique. Salmon Well. Today's teenagers at Salmon Well High School have missed out on, even I graduated in '98, and that's when Salmon Well was at its greatest. The stores were alive, the town was alive, it was busy. You could walk uptown and run into 50 people you knew.
Right. Right.
You could walk outside and just meet friends and walk around and buy ice cream, go to Mel's, go to the pool. 4th of July. It was a unique experience that is missed today. And you said it earlier. Today's society is so fast. It's so quick. We're in such a hurry for everything, and everything's given to us so quickly.
Yeah.
And we have access to so much information and entertainment that it's just unheard of. I see a couple kids walking outside today. I'm amazed because it's rare that you see that.
Right. And we spent our times outside. I remember we were able to go into the desert because the community was built around a desert area. There was mountains. We were able to go into the desert and just walk around and explore without being afraid.
Exactly, and it was also so tight knit that if you're we didn't have cell phones back then.
Right.
If your mom needed to find you, she could just make a phone call, to a couple neighbors' houses, and hey, do you know where my son's at? Yeah, he's up there at the fast stop with so and so, and you could get a message. Hey, your mom needs you home. Today, it's unheard of, but it was so unique. You could be found anywhere with a simple phone call to a couple neighbors. And someone will be able to tell you, hey, you need to get home. Your mom needs to talk to you. Your dad's looking for you.
Yeah.
The dreaded words every child hears. Your parents are looking for you.
Yeah. And then we knew we were like, we better get home, So,
correct.
Yeah. I remember right from across from the high school, with people that are listening that don't know, there's a parking lot, and then right across from there is what we would our famous Mel's Drive-In.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They
still
had,
there.
And still there. Yeah, it's still working.
Still there.
It's still functioning. They have the best hamburgers there. It was the hamburgers.
The fries, the chili willies.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I look forward to going back there and getting me a burger. But I remember, in school, just it's a really good memory. It was after school we had like maybe an hour and a half to kill before we had practice. Yeah, or practice. We had a volleyball practice or basketball practice, so we would go to Mel's and kick back there and have an ice cream. And at that time, me and Anita Romero, Cindy Salazar, I think Linda Hall was with us at times. We would go there and we ordered a cup of ice cream and M&Ms. And that I told the girls, I said, let's pour some M&Ms in the ice cream. I bet you it tastes good. And we did. And so everyone started catching on at the school, and everyone started ordering cups of ice cream with M&Ms in it.
M&Ms in it. Yeah.
And then, now, if I would have patented that...
You'd have been a rich woman.
I would have, yeah.
Very rich woman.
Yeah. I still like, wow, we could have been really well off, so.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's one memory that I always cherish, and
that's what's so great about the Minor Strong page on Facebook is because of what's happened recently. A lot of alumni are reaching out and sharing memories and photographs and memories I would have never been a witness to. I graduated with a bachelor's in history. I love history, but if it has to do with history, I'm in it. I read it, documentaries, I watch it, you name it.
Yeah.
And I especially love where I come from, the tri-community history. I live in Oracle, so I'm always reading books or looking for pictures, and Salmon Well has a rich history that I always wondered what was it like in the 50s and 60s. I look at my grandmother's albums and I see pictures of the town, the school, and it's just how it's evolved over the years, and just how much history there is in that town. I'm just very proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, a lot of people have a lot of pride in the town, in the school, even the elementary schools. I went to Avenue B school. I went to
Uh-huh.
Avenue B, and I remember my teachers to this day. I remember then going to junior high, and it was just uh, it was just a real tight knit community, to where now, going into high school, and a lot of us that played sports, or even, the performing arts. There was choir, there was band, there was, you know, art. They we've actually been, by doing so well in these, in sports and these arts, performing arts, we put Well on the map. We
Uh-huh.
actually, people didn't even know about Well until we started winning these awards, the state championships in
Uh-huh.
football and baseball, you know, uh,
Athletes that have gone pro, Warner Smith, Trent Brown, some of the names that I'm just throwing out there that have been very successful in athletics. Fred Lataw, I believe he was a coach at U of A track. The field's named after him. He's a very successful track coach. And
right.
our veterans, we have veterans that have served, especially in Vietnam, and who've given their life. And I would like to take a moment to say their names.
Sure.
Army Sergeant Tony Arriaga, who died in '66. Army Private Norman Garrett died in '65. Army Corporal Mark Bateman died in '67. Army PFC Johnny Garcia, who died in '67. Marine Lance Corporal Alan Ingram, who died in '68. Navy Torpedo Man, Third Class Gary Graves, who died in '68, and Marine Corps Sergeant Arthur Garcia, who died in '70, who were also athletes. And so it's much more than it's a unique culture of miners and veterans and athletes that we're just so lucky to be. And like you said, it enhanced who we are as people, you know. And to quote something I saw on this show, it says, I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
Right.
You leave high school, you turn 18, some of us leave, we go on to careers, we start families, life comes at you so fast. You're 18, and then in the blink of an eye, you're 40.
That's
And
true.
things have changed. Things change, and you always, sometimes something like this that's happened, and I think that's why we had such a unifying moment. Is nostalgia is a very powerful thing, and a lot of people, you included, are remembering where we came from and those memories, and we start digging out pictures, and it kind of reminds us how far we've come in such a short amount of time.
Right. And that brings up the situation that recently happened. Now, this made news here in Tucson. It was, I don't know if it made national news. I think, I know it was in newspapers. Um,
Uh-huh.
so if you want to, you can explain, let
Uh-huh.
everyone know, why we're bringing all this topic, up,
Uh-huh.
and what happened.
Sure. Monday, August 3rd, there was a Facebook post from a friend of mine, Ashley Hogg, whose uncle is Marine Corporal Alan Ingram, passed away in Vietnam. She posted a picture for help, saying that the athletic trophies had been thrown in the dumpster. And she had tried to load trophies into her vehicle, and she had no more room. So she was trying to find people to load the rest, because there were a lot of trophies. So I had messaged, I'm on my way. Not only have I been an athlete for Seminole, but I was a coach there for 10 years. Won lots of awards for cross country, track, and wrestling as an athlete and as a coach. And I didn't even make it out of the driveway until I was told they're not letting people on campus. They're locking the gates, and they're making everyone leave the trophies. Um, so I then along with everybody, we were wondering, why are the trophies in the trash can? And the administrators, the superintendent and the athletic director were confronted on video, and didn't have answers yet, and the video feed was cut, and so a lot of people started to show up, wondering what was going on. And so I had done a video, very upset about what is happening at the high school. Someone made phone calls, asked questions. Next thing we know, trophies were being pulled out of a trash can. The superintendent and I have talked, and it was me and a few other alumni have gotten together to try to get answers and to try to fix this problem. So that's what happened. Is a lot of all the athletic trophies except for the state championship trophies and the plaques were spared. And so that's why we're here today. A lot of people were questioning, why are these trophies being thrown away? Right. What was the reasoning? There's been our goal now with the Minor Strong Project. I'm part of this committee of 4 alumni, Christy Haro, Trent Brown, and Travis Barney. And our goal is to take this off the plate of the superintendent. She reached out to me as well, and offered to try to fix this at all the trophies, everything. And we have a meeting later this month so I can assess the damage that's done and get it to my trophy guy in Tucson, and see what we can do to fix and make brand new some of the older trophies, and then try to build a better trophy case and add more provenance to it, a little more history, so we have more of information from our athletics department.
Oh, nice.
So that is the goal, but we're not stopping there. I know there's been a lot of people are very upset with what happened. The athletic director did send an apology letter that's posted on the Facebook page of the school and the website, taking responsibility for what happened, stating that the goal was to clean the trophy case and present the awards better. Why they ended up in the trash still hasn't been assessed. It was basically called a miscommunication. I think that's the best we're going to get as far as an explanation. However, the project committee that I'm working with, we're ready to move on from this and fix it and make it right. Honestly, I worked there for 10 years, and it wasn't a great trophy case. It was cluttered. It was just, trophies were thrown in there. It could have been done better. And for a long time, a lot of coaches, including myself, said, man, we got to do something to make this better. But it's one of those things that you got to do it, but there's other pressing things. And so now that we're having to deal with it, we're going to make it 10 times better. But the good news is the school needs a lot of financial help as well. Some educators have reached out, and I talked to the superintendent about the needs of the school, with COVID happening as well. And with the mine gone, the funding isn't there. And so the goal of the group is to also reach out with alumni to try to raise money. Once we fix this trophy debacle, then we can move on to raising funds to help the school with supplies they need, scholarship aid, anything that the administration needs. We want to try and do better. As Christy had noted when we talked, we're all a little guilty of turning our back on the school once we left.
Right.
And we need to take the responsibility of helping our community, even though we're not there. And the silver lining of this whole debacle is that it has brought the community together once again. There's eyeballs now on the school of what's needed, what needs to be changed, what needs to be done, and we're hoping that we can help them achieve the goals of getting that institution back to where it belongs, helping these kids get the education that they deserve. So it's not just about trophies and reliving the glory days. It's about restoring a piece of culture and rebuilding the trust between the school and the alumni and the community, because this really captures a lot of the trust. For some people, there's a minority of people, they're just trophies. Well, you either didn't play sports or you don't appreciate just how important athletics are to a school. I can tell you right now, when this happened, trying to figure out the thinking behind this, I talked to numerous athletic directors and coaches. Sunnyside, Coach DeBerry at Tucson High, who's also an athletic director. I had a friend reach out to Globe. I even talked to a college coach at Dixie University who I compete against because I coach wrestling for U of A. And every single one of them had said, we have never heard of anything like this. We would never throw away our trophies. Tucson High has a curator. They've been around since the 1800s, and they have a beautiful trophy display. If you ever get a chance to go to their high school, go to the basketball gym, and it's broken down by era. And in each trophy case, it shows, in each year or decade, it shows memorabilia, Letterman jackets, letters, yearbooks,
Oh,
pictures,
wow.
trophies.
Mm-hmm.
Your sweater from 1895. It's really cool. And I asked them, well, you have so many trophies, how do you pick? I'm like, every couple of years we redecorate it, and with the trophies we're not using, we have a storage facility. Globe High School has their own museum. They have a new school now, but the old high school that was one of the oldest high schools in Arizona is now like their museum, and so they have every single trophy that's ever been earned in that museum. They have a curator who's responsible for taking care of them, and that is what should have been done. And I think hopefully moving forward, there's a more appreciation of just how important. It's not just a piece of plastic anymore. Now it's a piece of history. It's a piece of community history. My friend Ashley, she was trying to, save a trophy that her uncle had earned when he was a high school student, and he went to Vietnam, in high school. And so it's not just a piece of trophy or a glory day for her. It's a piece of her family's history. And so once we can fix what happened on August 3rd, then we can move forward with the rest of what needs to be done with the school. I can also tell you there's a group in San Manuel. I can't remember the name of the group. They're on Facebook. They're a group of citizens in San Manuel that meet, I think, monthly, and they're trying to beautify San Manuel and trying to figure out how we can bring back industry and keep the town surviving and being fruitful.
Oh, nice.
So it isn't just so much, it's the town in general. Everyone's trying to keep this town viable and on the map. And so the first thing we got to do is fix this mistake, and we're going to do that. We have a great group of alumni that are working on this. We're very invested in making this right. We're not looking to make heads roll. We're not looking to point fingers. We just want to fix it. We just want to make. And so that's why, again, later this month, I'll be meeting with the superintendent, and we'll see about moving forward. And we're really excited about that, and the superintendent's been great. She's communicated and very open to the ideas and very grateful for the help.
That's awesome. And like we said, we don't want to focus on what has happened already. There's no sense in focusing on the negative, but
Exactly.
the positive did. What has been created is the support from the community, whether we are still living there or not. My family still lives in Mammoth, and I do have
yes.
an aunt that lives in San Manuel. My brother Chris, he does have awards there. He was all-star and all-state in football and in baseball. So that's history that I would like for it to
Preserved,
be kept,
yeah.
right. And I mean, a lot of friends, those were the best years. I can't tell you, I participated in volleyball and basketball, and I was real proud of being something else other than academics. It was something that I worked really hard for. We worked very hard in practicing and just games. Plus keeping up with our schoolwork and our grades. So
It's a character builder, and again, I've been an athletics coach since 2002. My girls cross country team was the first female team to win the conference championship in school history, and all of them have gone on to do amazing things. They went to college. They have kids now. They have kids now. They're amazing group of young women, and I've coached so many young men as well that have gone on to do fantastic things. TJ Uribe is San Manuel's first 3-time state champion wrestler. I coached him. I mentored him. He is now a sergeant major in the United States Army who served 2 tours in Afghanistan. The guy is decorated like a Christmas tree. Michael Sledge is a commander in the Navy. I like this story about Michael Sledge. He needed a sport for Annapolis. He was going to Annapolis. He wasn't our greatest wrestler. He lost almost every match, but he refused to quit. He needed a sport. and he I remember he won a match and we went crazy. You'd have thought he just won the state championship. And I remember telling him that, you may not have won a state title, you may not have had the best records, but what you're learning right now about yourself, these practices, these grueling practices that we're putting you through, you want to go to the military, it's going to teach you a lot about yourself. And he always laughs that Navy training was so much easier than wrestling practice. We were so hard. And now he's in charge of men's lives. He's in charge of missions. And it just goes to show that, athletes being involved in sports and clubs, it helps build character, but also, like you said, it brings so many memories and such can't share with anybody else. I coach wrestling in college, and I tell my athletes, I was like, enjoy this now. Like for a lot of people that ends in high school,
right.
You have the lucky fortune of wrestling at college, and when you guys graduate college, life's going to go 3 times as fast.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to 50 before you know it, and enjoy. And a lot of them have reached out and said, you know what, Coach, you're right. I miss those bus trips. I miss those huddles. I miss the competition. I miss the nerves. I miss the victories, the losses. Being an athlete is unique, and those experiences are something that really stay with you. And unless you've been a part of it, it's really hard to explain. You see those movies, We Are Marshall, or any sports movie that's out there right now. And if you were an athlete, you fondly remember those practices and you share those stories. And even at reunions, you see your old football buddies, your old wrestling buddies, and you're going to have a story to tell of competition. But also, I remember that bus ride we went to Wilcox, and also, being a part of, having a strong athletics team for your school is also something. Your school is just more different when you're a winning team. When your athletics is strong, and you wear your colors proudly, the campus is more livelier when your sports are rocking, and you start traveling. Next thing you know, you're traveling to games. You're going to Wilcox. You're going to Superior. You're going to Bisbee. Also, you start to think, I don't know about you, but I keep thinking fondly of all the football games. I was a band geek, but I also remember, but it's, you remember going to football games. Yeah. It was a way for you to get away from your parents unsupervised at night, to go flirt with some girls or guys if you're a lady, you go hide under the bleachers and do God knows what, pep assemblies, even if you weren't into sports, but pep assemblies were a reason to get out of class for an hour. Maybe even ditch, you know how it is. You get to a pep assembly, it takes the teacher about 20 minutes to quiet everyone down to get things started. It's mad chaos, and it has to change. You go to high school today, and it's still the same thing when you have, sports that are successful. I was at Mountain View for a little bit doing my student teaching there, and went to a couple pep assemblies, and I laughed. I was like, it's the same way it was when I was in high school in 94 to 98, I tell people all the time, I think times are changing, not only the clothes, history, so, you still have the same issues, kids still go through the same things, popularity, bullying, being accepted, pep assemblies, all those things are still present, just the clothes are different, and so that's why, when this happened, like, the silver lining, it's really brought us together, and a lot of people are starting to finally remember their time at Seminole.
Right, it brings up so many memories. I was looking through the Facebook page, and I remember there were the Bonces. I know PJ.
Oh yeah, PJ and Rick.
Who was the
PJ,
one that went to Japan?
That was PJ.
PJ went to Japan.
Yeah, PJ went to Japan. He was a 2-time state champion for Seminole Wrestling. He now coaches at Mountain View, where they've won state titles, conference titles, numerous state runner-up, numerous conference titles, individual champions. Coach Ibetta was my coach, so was PJ Ponce. And then when I became a coach, they became my coaching mentors as well as my brothers.
Nice.
And then when PJ left, he went to Empire, then to Mountain View, and and my brother went with him to Mountain View, and they built a championship wrestling program. Numerous athletes going to college. Gilbert Rodriguez wrestled for Seminole. He ended up going to Mountain View. He became a state champion for Mountain View High School. I think he's graduating this year, next year. I can't remember, but PJ has done a real good job. And the funny thing is be it Empire or Mountain View, the same uh, goals and characteristics and culture that we had at San Manuel.
Mm-hmm.
It's Mountain View. If you're a San Manuel wrestler and you go to Mountain View High School, it's the same thing you'd be learning at Mountain View.
Oh, wow.
The coach, Coach Ibetta was very big on coaching, character, coaching with integrity, coaching with honor, winning with dignity, losing with pride. These were things that he taught me to teach, and helped me be successful as a coach. I've won conference championships at the college level for the NCAA. I have 2 All-Americans. I had a female who was really, really close to being an All-American, and it's just because of those lessons I've learned as an athlete and as a coach to those people.
And that's the trophy is just not a trophy. It's our accomplishments. It reminds us. It's our memories. It's like you said, all the trips we made to different towns to play the competitive sports. I mean,
yeah.
And it's we look at that trophy and we're like, wow, I actually was part of that. It's the pride. So I want to give a shout out to Arthur Renteria. He's listening in. He sent me an inbox and he said he was listening in. So I just want to tell him I appreciate him.
How's it going, Art? Hi.
Yeah, listening in and just being part of this. So we will keep everyone posted, I'm sure, as to
absolutely.
Yeah, what's going to happen with the trophies, where they're going to be placed. And
I can tell you right now, this is a 6-month project. We're hoping to be done by January. Once we see the trophies later this month, then we can get the ball rolling with fundraising. I know everyone's been trying to ask about donating money. We're not there yet because we really don't know what we're dealing with. So for those of you listening that are part of the San Manuel community wanting to help, just be patient. This is a process. We want to do this right. So once we know what we're dealing with as far as the trophies and what we need for a trophy case, because we still need help as far as putting it together. So by the mid-September, we should have the ball rolling. And then by January, we should be ready to have this rolled up and ready for display.
Nice. And that's what we like to hear. I mean, that's perfect. And I'm going to continue to update on my page, keep everyone posted as to what's happening. And I know my mom was asking, she didn't know really too much what was going on. But when I told her, she was like, wow, your brother has, trophies in there, from him playing football and baseball. And she says, just keep me posted, me and your dad. And my dad didn't graduate, but he did go to school there in San Manuel. So did my uncles and many of my aunts. So I want to thank you so much for taking time out, and it's also a pleasure to get to know you. I now I know
you
who
as
you
well.
are,
Yeah.
and I was like, wow, I want to give a shout out to Ernie Urquijo also, because Ernie's the one that directed me to you, and I was like, yeah, I would love to talk to him. So
I really appreciate the forum, and I'm so proud of our community, and I'm proud to be a Miner, and we're going to make this right, and for others out there that aren't part of the San Manuel community, reach out to your schools, make sure everything's okay there, see if you can help, tax credits, maybe a donation, just make sure everything's on the up and up, and take a look back at your own history and get some smiles and some good reminiscing yourselves.
Right. And this could happen to any school. Any school that's out there, it could happen. So those of you that are listening in, whether you're from Texas or Florida, just if you were part of the sports or performing arts, make sure that your trophies are kept in a area where people can actually view them and be proud of where they went to school at. So
exactly.
Yeah, so thanks you again, Vince. I appreciate your time, and I have this recorded, so hopefully I could save it, and maybe I can figure out how to post it on the page so that people can.
That'd be fantastic. Thank you.
Can tune in, and this is a great interview. Thank you so much. You knew so much more history than I knew, and my family's from there, but to know from someone else's point of view and someone else's perspective like yourself, it's also it's really refreshing.
Well, thank you for the time. I really appreciate it. and we look forward to getting this done, and we'll keep you updated. So, as I always say, bear down and minor pride.
Thank you, Vince. Appreciate it.
Take care.
You too. Bye.